Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Friday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Parish Construction and Roofing. If you need an orthopedist, you go to Brock. You need a roof, you call Parish. Unique physique and unique aesthetics and wellness. Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. Bocock Brothers Premium Cigars. Use the code MAT15, MAT15, MAT15 for 15% off your order. And by the way, if you don't want the box of 20 cigars, they also have 5 packs. So, Bocock Brothers Premium Cigars. Okay, we'll say some good morning, y'all. Thanks for being here with us. Final day of the early signing period. So, we'll get a decision from Lamar Brown today. Is he going to sign with the Tigers? Does he hold off? We'll see. Should know that. Pretty good feeling. He was supposed to have was told early Thursday that they were preparing a ceremony at U High for him to sign a signing ceremony. But today is U High has it says the state semifinals for high school football. So um, Lamar actually texted me while I was on air yesterday in AFR and said he wasn't doing a signing ceremony at the school. So sounds like he just wants to have a normal game day, which totally respect, but hopefully that means he'll still sign. He just won't have a ceremony. So we'll see how that goes today. And then, of course, there's the big Blake Baker news that everybody's waiting on. So, Blake's got a tough decision. He loves LSU. His family is happy here. He can get where he wants to go, which is to be a power head coach from here as the defensive coordinator. But he's also got his alma mater. They're calling on him to take that job. So does he want to go become a G6 head coach for a couple of years that can maybe springboard him into that that Power Four head coach opportunity, or does he want to stay at LSU where he's happy, a great chance to win, have a great defensive side of the ball complementing Lane Kiffin's offense. I mean, it's not an easy decision for him. And I know there's a lot of reports out there, but let's just say that as of last night, Blake Baker had not made a decision. So reports now, again, I want to be clear. He may take the job. I'm not pounding the table telling you he's staying, but as of last night, he had not made it. He had not made a decision. And maybe he wakes up today and it just clicks, talks to his family, makes the call. We know today. I don't know, but I can tell you that as of last night, he had not made a decision. So anyway, all right, we'll say some good morning. Y'all smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the page, share the post. Hey, Mike, good morning. Kelly, good morning. Leon, Tiger Poppy, good morning. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend. Good morning. Hey, Abner, good morning to you. Sean, good morning. Christopher, good morning. If Baker leaves for Tulane, where do you think Kiffin turns for DC? Any chance Shep would be open to homecoming? No. When some of the early convos were happening about Shep and his name was bouncing around for head coach, I did ask that question. And no, he's not leaving an NFL DC job for a college DC job. No, he would have left to be the LSU head coach, but not a DC. Hey, Cartel Bo, good morning. Devin, good morning. Jesse, happy Friday, y'all. Thomas, good morning. Let's go. Day 37. Let's go. Corey, Tiger fan, good to see everybody here. Morning, Matt. We need a DC, don't we? Y'all, if I had to guess, okay, so completely speculative. If I had to guess, my guess is Blake Baker takes the Tulane job. He wants to be a head coach. It's a chance to go coach his alma mater. You can't blame the guy. I get it. However, I'm telling you, as of last night, he had not made that decision. So I think, remember, I told you on Tuesday night Baker was at the meet. It was Kiffin, the GM, Billy Glasscock, Blake Baker, Bryce Brown, who's Richard Anderson's high school coach, and then Richard's representatives. They all met Tuesday night for 3 hours at football ops to kind of lay out the plan for Rich. And of course, Anderson signed. Baker was part of that meeting. I mean, here at the signing class, there's a lot of people part of the signing class who think Blake Baker's coming back. So, again, I'm not telling you definitively that he's staying. I'm not saying that. I'm telling you it ain't as easy a decision as some thinks it is that he's leaving. He may. But he ain't made that decision yet, at least not as of last night. Ricky, good morning. Armin, good morning. Juan, what up? Doug, Duhan, Josh, good morning. Chris, morning, Matt. Do coaches not talk? Surely Kiffin's smart enough to not repeat Kelly's mistakes when it comes to LA coaches, Frank, on staff. What do you mean when you say do coaches not talk? Do you mean like is Kiffin not seeking advice of other people? So remember, Frank was on Brian Kelly's staff. When Brian Kelly got here, he hired Frank on staff from McNeese. But he made Brian Polian his recruiting coordinator, and he did let Corey Raymond go, which was not smart. Now, after some convos yesterday, it sounds like Corey's safe, which is the very good news. But Blake Baker leaves, the entire defensive staff may be turning over, except for Corey. You'll have a new DC. I think Blake is going to take with him Peoples and Olsen if he leaves. So you'd be losing your DC who coaches linebackers, your edge coach, and your safeties coach. And then I don't think, as we've talked about, I don't think Kyle Williams is returning to staff. And there was a report from Football Scoop on Thursday night that LSU is targeting Elijah Robinson, which would be massive if they get Elijah Robinson on staff. So I know there's a lot of people keep asking about Ed Ogeron. Yo, Elijah Robinson's 40 years old, played at Penn State, massive defensive lineman, spent 6 years at A&M there with Jimbo. He was the interim head coach when Jimbo got fired. He's the one that got Don McKinley and Gabe Relaford committed to A&M. And when he left for Syracuse to go be the defensive coordinator at Syracuse, which he's done the last 2 years. Didn't go great. Fran Brown demoted him, so now apparently he's looking to leave. Great. Come here. Come on. Hey, Jack, good morning. Nick, John Summerall putting together a staff at Florida. I haven't looked at what Summerall's doing down there yet. I need to check it out. Hey, Patrick, good morning. Woke up 5:10 above the ground this morning. Going to be a blessed day. Amen. Love that. Hey, Lynn, good morning. Legendary CEO. Yo. Hey, Gregory, what up? Juan, if Blake Baker leaves, who's a good candidate for DC? Yeah, I mean, look, the first name that I was told when we started having this conversation, I don't know, a week ago, was DJ Durkin. And the word was DJ Durkin wasn't happy that he got passed over for the Auburn job. And Durkin was on Lane Kiffin's staff at Ole Miss there at the beginning of Kiffin's tenure at Ole Miss. So, but Durkin agreed to an extension at Auburn, so that's off the board. Lance Guidry is on staff already. Remember, Lance Guidry was DC down at Miami. He was so he's got power DC experience with Guidry. Here you go. He was DC at Miami, DC at Marshall, DC at Southeastern. He was the head coach of McNeese, DC at McNeese, DC at Western Kentucky. He was also the interim head coach at Miami of Ohio and interim head coach at Western Kentucky. So he's got a lot of high school experience as well. Leesville, Karen Crow, Louisiana guy. So Lance Guidry could be a name to watch. I might throw up in my mouth when I say this out loud, but Alex Grinch. And just kind of like ear to ground. Name I was told last night, and I don't know anything about this guy, but they're preparing for the possibility, so that's at least good. But his name is Vince Kehres. I don't know this dude at all, but he's a young defensive coordinator at Toledo. Well, I say young, he's 49. But here's his history as a coach. He was a high school coach for 1 year in 1999. Then from 2000 to 2019, he was at Mount Union, the Division III school. D-line, offensive line, defense coordinator, then head coach. He was the head coach at Mount Union from 2013 to 2019. And then he was 95-6, by the way, during won 2 Division III titles, national championships. And then now he's been at Toledo as the DC since 2020. So it's 6 seasons as Toledo's DC. So that's another name that I heard, for whatever that's worth. I don't know how he would have a tie to Lane or anything like that. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe there's no, but whatever. That was one I was told last night. Please smash the like button if you would. Subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the page, share the post. All right, we will come back in just a second.
Parish Construction and Roofing. At Parish, we've got you covered. From the top of your roof, all the way down. Parish Construction and Roofing. Parish Built. Parish Built. Parish Built. From your hometown. ParishBuilt.com.
All right. Remember, if you need an orthopedist, go to Brock. They're the best. Nights and weekends. So you can bypass the ER, brortho.com, and of course, Parish Construction and Roofing. We'd love to give you that free, no obligation roofing inspection. Go to parishbuilt.com. Parishbuilt.com. Also, Unique Physique and Unique Aesthetics and Wellness. Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. Bocock Brothers Premium Cigars. Code MATT15 for 15% off your order. All right. Where am I? Matt, if we get Robinson as D-line coach, it'd be a massive hire. That is true. That would be huge. Morning, Matt. Saw a bunch of posts from Juwan Johnson. Sounds like he wants to play quarterback. Okay. I mean, if anybody could turn him into a quarterback, it'd be Lane Kiffin. Good morning. Hey, great. Locked On. Woke up and watched. Yeah, thank you, Billy. I've been posting. So I record Locked On like at 10:30 at night. And I've just been putting it live because there's clearly an overnight crowd that watches and listens. So I've just been publishing it at night. And so if you wake up and you want to listen to it, great. But I think helps the overnight crowd. I mean, there's a lot of people that do shift work or whatever the case may be. And, or just up late and watch and listen late. So appreciate that. Hey, Brian, good morning. Trivia, good morning. Mike, morning, Matt. Hope you and the family have a great weekend. Same to you, man. Thanks so much. Hey, Ryan. The guy who is locked on Ole Miss is delusional. I don't know what he said. I know. Hey, Brian. Morning, Matt. My brain is on overload trying to keep up with all the news. I don't know how you do a great job. Thank you, man. It has been, well, the news cycle never stops. And when it's busy like this, it can be overwhelming. There's no doubt. Like, it's been a long 6 weeks. So get through this signing period, get the staff settled, and hopefully things around the holidays can settle a little bit. And then ramp up again for the portal. Alabama fans are melting to the fact Saban pushed Kiffin to LSU. Okay. Sylvain, do you think we get a defensive line coach that lasts more than one season? Hope so, man. It has been a lot of turnover at defensive line coach. I mean, from Jamar Cain leaving in the middle of spring to who did they promote for spring? It was I'm blanking. I can picture him. I'm blanking. And then Jimmy Lindsay came in, and unfortunately Jimmy got sick, and so then they moved things around a little bit. And John Jancic was coaching line. Then they brought Coach Pete back. And then they hired Bo Davis, and Bo left after 1 year. And now they brought in Kyle Williams, who looks like he's leaving after 1 year. Yeah, it's been a whirlwind, man. He checked. Kiffin was blackballed at Alabama. Jacob, morning. Why are Ole Miss fans so delusional and hypocritical? Thank you for your coverage on LSU and the best Locked On podcast. Way better than. Oh. I have not listened to a word of the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, so I don't know what Steven's. I know we like a lot of the college hosts know, like we know each other. There's like a Teams chat we're in and all. Steven and I have done a crossover before, but like I don't know. I haven't listened. I don't know what he's saying. We got to pay Blake more than Tulane or Memphis. Yeah, Jeremy, I don't think that's going to be what it is. Memphis was paying Silverfield 2.4. So, and I was told the first offer from Memphis for Blake was less than 2. So he ain't taking a pay cut. Now, both Tulane and Memphis came to Baton Rouge yesterday to visit Blake Baker. So I don't know if they upped their offer. I have no idea, whatever happened with that. But clearly both are trying like heck to hire him if they came here to see him yesterday, right? After having initial convos earlier in the week. So we'll see. Hey, Patricia, good morning. Oh, and to the money thing, like I think LSU would go to 3, maybe a little north of 3 if they had to for Blake Baker to keep him. Robert, good morning. Am I simply being nostalgic to hate to see Frank, Brad, and others leave? It seems like Lane so far isn't worried about having Louisiana connections. I wouldn't say nostalgic. I think Frank Wilson matters a lot. And I think this is potentially going to prove to be a poor decision for Lane Kiffin if he lets Frank Wilson walk. I think a lot of coaches have to learn this the hard way. You've got to have your Louisiana ties, and in particular with Frank, it's about New Orleans. There is just nobody better. It's not to say he's the only person that can recruit New Orleans, but he's literally the best. And you got to have a New Orleans connection, man, on staff. It's mandatory. And I know for a fact there are people around Lane Kiffin who are associated with LSU that have told him, hey, man, don't let Frank go. You got to recruit New Orleans. And we'll see. Well, Matt, could you explain to everyone that the NIL war chest being used for the current big-time recruits will not be available to spend in the portal as portal comes out of rev share? That's not true, actually. That's factually inaccurate. So every team has the same amount to spend in revenue share. There's 2 things that give LSU a big advantage. One, if you remember last year when they were front loading all the NIL deals, that means they didn't have to use their rev share from this year yet, so they can front load contracts again with rev share. It's part of it. The other part of it is the true NIL deals that they're doing through the LSU Max program. So that's a big part of the commitment that LSU made to Lane Kiffin was through that program, not through rev share. It's the money on top of rev share. Morning, Scone. Was watching the Nevin Shapiro show where Austin Simmons' dad was the guest. Said LSU was interesting for what they've done with transfer quarterbacks. Said it's a bigger brand. That's true. I don't know who Nevin Shapiro is, and Austin Simmons did lose his job to Chambliss this year, but anyway. Trash House, hey man, appreciate the super chat. But it is clear they will. They got to go in the portal. I mean, they got to go in portal and get quarterbacks, especially with Duckworth deciding to stay and sign with South Carolina. Hey, Eric, good morning. Is there a chance Kiffin keeps the existing wide receiver core? We use Chris Hinton or Nick Anderson, nearly enough. Well, Hilton's out of eligibility, so he's done. Went through signing day and everything. Nick Anderson could come back. I don't know if he will. It'll be interesting to see. But one thing that was pretty clear through the first few days of the signing period is Lane Kiffin's going to build that receiver room with the skill set that he wants. And it's interesting how they do evaluation. They've been successful. That's undeniable. But they look for certain skill sets in receivers. So, look, Kalian Billiot, Jelani Watkins out, 2 receiver commits, had their offers not honored. So, he's got an idea for, Anderson's going to be gone. Barry Brown's going to be gone. Aaron Anderson, Barry Brown, Xavier Thomas will be gone. So you're going to have a lot of turnover in that receiver room. Got some good young talent. Sage, good morning. Carly Cat, what up? Tiger Diver, good morning. Should have been asked, where does LSU turn if Baker leaves? Yeah, answered that a little bit ago. I don't have a ton of great answers for you. The Lance Guidry's on, the 3 I gave you was Lance Guidry's on staff. Alex Grinch, Puke, and then Vince Cares, Kehres from Toledo. He was Mount Union's head coach, who's DC at Toledo. And that was a name I was told yesterday. People who sign checks at Alabama blackball Kiffin, who wants to get in the Alabama job. Okay. Who cares? Why are we having this conversation? Nobody cares. Randy Smith, I'm thinking recruiting nowadays maybe done more so with debit cards and bank drafts. You're always going to get guys who dream of being Tigers. That's true. Hey, Sam, good morning. Any word on Jace Matthews? Not that I've heard. Yeah, that is true. Football Scoop had that report last night. Included that in my Locked On episode, which is live right now if you want to check it out. Jody, good morning from Tiger Bait in Little Rock. All right, man. Be safe up there. Hey, Brian, does Austin Thomas have a role somewhere at LSU, or is he moving on altogether? Yeah, so I haven't confirmed that. We know he wouldn't be within the LSU football program. There had been some conversation of would he have a role in LSU athletics department? Nobody said anything publicly about that. The intimation that I got when Lane was hired and was asked about Austin was he was going to be out altogether. But I don't know that that's done or has been decided, but I wouldn't anticipate that Austin would have a role within the athletic department. Hey, Pat, good morning. Remember, he was a Scott Woodward hire too. So if Scott were still here, I might think differently. Few more. Wonder if Lane did make a serious push for Duckworth because he knows Trinidad is LSU bound. No, I think you need numbers at quarterback, and I think they did make a serious push for Duckworth. DL coach Elijah Robinson is the name Football Scoop mentioned last night, which would be awesome. Cincy Pork Chop, good morning. Hey, Brent, good morning. Where do you think LSU would go bowling? Yeah, so this changed, actually. The league was saying Gator or Music City. Now it's either Texas again or the Duke Mayo Bowl in Charlotte. It's one of those two. So after the games this past weekend, that shifted. So I don't know if that's because Texas beat A&M or whatever happened. But before last week, it was looking like LSU was either going Gator or Music City. Now it's either Texas or Duke Mayo. JD, good morning. Got real delusional going on in Ole Miss right now. Morning, Matt. First time in a while I've been able to catch up. Well, thanks, Brandon. Appreciate you for being there. Jeffrey heard Coach O for DC. That's not going to happen. Have a great weekend. Thank you, Rocco. Carly Cat, women's team with a strong finish after a rough start. Blake, in my opinion, should stay one more year. Move to head coach, sell 2026. Does Bama miss the playoffs with a loss? Gosh, I hope so. I think it would have to be a pretty one-sided loss and some other things fall into place. We'd have some bid stealing going on. But I just look at last year where, remember, SMU lost the ACC championship game and still got in the playoff. Now they were 11-1, Bama's 10-2. So we'll see. But I think if it was a really lopsided loss, maybe. If it's a close loss, I think they probably still get in. Can Tulane match money for Baker's crew? You will also remember, like, one of those guys would likely end up being a DC or maybe they're co-DCs, if/when they go with Blake. Probably some analysts that Blake uses as well that would go and be on-field coaches. So, if he leaves, he's going to take staff with him too. Matt, I'm glad you aren't a whining baby like the dude from Locked On. Why are y'all talking about Locked On Ole Miss? Like, stop listening to it. Who cares? Good morning. Morning, Matt. Can you explain to everyone? So, sorry, I read that one already. Morning, Matt. If LSU gets Elijah, does it not make sense that they're probably going after DJ Durkin as well as DC because they're time together at A&M? Yeah, so we talked about that, right? I think Durkin would make sense, but Durkin agreed to an extension to stay at Auburn. So that's why that's off the board. Rendell Clark, good morning. Thank you. Charlie, good morning from Arizona. If Baker leaves, does Zoe get back? I don't. Why would you, you're not, Ed Ogeron has never been a defensive coordinator, so you're not hiring him as a DC. So Baker staying or going has nothing to do with whether Coach O is here or not. And the report from Football Scoop is they're targeting Elijah Robinson, which would be a grand slam home run. Morning, Madeline. I trust we'll be better off from all these changes. Oh God, it's 7:17. I got to go. Okay. My apologies, y'all, if I missed you. Please smash the like button if you would. Subscribe to the channel. Facebook, like the page, share the post. Locked on LSU is live. AFR 3. Y'all have an awesome day. Peace.